There is a lie that has been whispered into your ears since the moment you were old enough to understand language. It is a comforting lie. It is a sedative. It is the belief that if things get bad enough, if the night gets dark enough, if the pain becomes unbearable, someone will intervene. We are raised on stories of rescue. The hero swoops in, the cavalry arrives, the lucky break changes everything. But look at your life. Look at the ceiling of your bedroom at 3 a.m. Is the cavalry coming? The most dangerous addiction in the modern world is not drugs, and it is not a screen. It is waiting. Waiting for the right time, waiting for permission, waiting to be saved. History, however, is not written by those who waited. It is carved by those who realized the terrifying truth. You are completely, utterly, and devastatingly alone in the cockpit of your destiny. Today, we dissect the anatomy of self-rescue. We look at two men separated by 2 centuries, one a ghost from the American South, the other a giant from the dust of Cameroon. They share nothing in common but this: they looked into the abyss, realized no one was coming, and decided to build a ladder out of their own bones. Let us introduce the first prisoner. The year is 2013. We are in the streets of Paris. It is winter. Meet Francis. He is 27 years old. By modern standards, he is already a failure. He is homeless. He sleeps in a parking lot wrapped in clothes that do not fit his massive frame. He has no papers, no money, no family. He does not speak the language. To the people walking past him, he is invisible. He is a statistic, a nuisance. But before Paris, Francis was in hell. He spent his childhood in the sand mines of Batié, Cameroon, shoveling rock for pennies, breathing silica dust that turns lungs into stone. He watched his father, a street fighter with a bad reputation, die with nothing. Francis ran. He crossed the Sahara Desert on foot. He drank water from wells poisoned with dead animals. He tried to cross into Europe 6 times. He was cut by razor wire. He was beaten by border guards. He was left to die in the Moroccan forest. He is a man whom the world has actively tried to erase. Now shift your eyes to the second prisoner. The year is 1838. We are in the shipyards of Baltimore, Maryland. Meet Frederick. He is 20 years old. He is property. Legally, he is not a man. He is chattel. He has no last name. He doesn't know his birthday. He was separated from his mother as an infant. He has seen women whipped until their blood ran into the soil. Frederick is a slave. The law forbids him to read. The society forbids him to think. The economy forbids him to own his own body. If he runs, he will be hunted by dogs. If he fights, he will be hanged. Here is the context. Francis is trapped by geography and poverty. Frederick is trapped by law and chains. Most people in these situations wait. They wait for a kind master. They wait for a government program. They wait for God to change the hearts of their oppressors. And usually, they die waiting. But Francis and Frederick shared a specific psychological mutation, a glitch in the matrix. They stopped asking, "Why is this happening to me?" and they started asking, "What am I going to do about it?" The difference between a victim and a victor is not lack of suffering, it is the interpretation of suffering. The modern mind, your mind perhaps, is obsessed with fairness. You look at your bank account, your genetics, your boss, and you say, "This isn't fair." And you are right, it isn't. But fairness is a human concept. Nature does not know fairness. Nature only knows consequence. Frederick Douglass realized this when he was sent to a man named Edward Covey. Covey was known as a slave breaker. His job was to crush the spirit of rebellious men. For 6 months, Covey beat Frederick every week. He worked him until he collapsed in the fields. Frederick was broken. He describes himself as a man whose soul had been killed. But then something snapped. One day, while lying in the dirt, covered in blood, Frederick looked at the sky and realized that no angel was descending. If the beating was to stop, he had to stop it. The next time Covey came for him, he didn't cower. He grabbed the man by the throat. They fought for 2 hours in the mud. Frederick didn't fight to win. He fought to die. He decided that he would rather be a corpse than a servant. Covey never touched him again. That was the moment the slave died and the man was born. Shift to Francis Ngannou. In the forests of Morocco, waiting to cross the sea on a flimsy inflatable raft, Francis watched people give up. They accepted their fate. They turned back. Francis knew the ocean didn't care about his dreams. The ocean would drown him just as easily as it would float him. The mindset shift was identical to Frederick's. It was the acceptance of total responsibility. Francis realized that his poverty was not his fault, but his future was entirely his problem. He didn't blame the border guards. He didn't blame the sand mines. He treated them as environmental hazards, like rain or heat. You don't get angry at the rain. You build a shelter. This is where you fail. You are angry at the rain. You waste energy screaming at the circumstances of your life, waiting for the weather to change. Francis and Frederick built the boat. But mindset is just a spark. Discipline is the fuel. And this is where the story becomes boring. And because it is boring, most of you will tune out. We love the montage. We love the scene where the hero trains for 3 minutes and becomes a champion. Real life is not a montage. Real life is the long, silent, agonizing stretch of time where absolutely nothing seems to be happening.
When Frederick Douglass decided to free his mind, he needed to learn to read, but it was illegal. He didn't have a school, he didn't have a teacher, so he carried bread in his pocket. When he met poor white boys on the street, he would trade bread for words. "Teach me this letter," he would say. He found old newspapers in the gutter. He traced letters on timber with a lump of chalk. He did this for years, in the dark, in secret, terrified. That is discipline. It isn't a motivational Instagram post. It is trading your lunch for knowledge when you are starving. Look at Francis in Paris. He walks into a gym. He tells the coach he wants to be a world champion. He has never boxed in his life. He's 27, ancient for a fighter. He has no home. He sleeps in the gym storage. He wakes up before the city. While others in his position were begging for change or selling drugs to survive, Francis was hitting a bag. Imagine the psychological weight of that. You are hungry. You are cold. You have zero evidence that you will succeed. Every logical voice in your head screams, "Give up. Go find a job washing dishes. Be safe." Discipline is the ability to ignore your own survival instinct when it tells you to choose comfort over risk. Francis Ngannou denied his current reality to build a future reality. He didn't party, he didn't socialize, he trained. He sacrificed the now for a later that wasn't guaranteed. How many of you sacrifice your future for the now? You choose the scrolling over the sleeping, the sugar over the fasting, the complaint over the action. You are eating the seed corn of your potential because you cannot bear the hunger of discipline. What happens when a man decides he is his own savior? Frederick Douglass didn't just escape slavery. He didn't just run north. He became the most photographed American of the 19th century. He became an orator who dined with presidents. He became the voice that helped shatter the chains of millions. He proved that the mind, once expanded, can never return to its original dimensions. He didn't just save himself. His self-rescue became a lighthouse for a nation. And Francis, the boy from the sand mines, became the heavyweight champion of the world. He stood in the center of the octagon, a belt of gold around his waist, the most feared man on the planet. But the money isn't the point. The belt isn't the point. The point is the autonomy. When the UFC tried to control him, tried to treat him like an asset rather than a partner, Francis left. He walked away from millions because he remembered the sand mines. He remembered that he didn't cross the ocean to be another man's employee. He crossed it to be free. He bet on himself again, and he won again. The legacy of these men is not in their bank accounts, it is in their eyes. Look at a photo of Frederick Douglass. Look at a photo of Francis Ngannou. You see the same look. It is the look of a man who knows he cannot be broken because he has already broken himself and put the pieces back together exactly how he wanted. Now, back to you. The screen you are watching this on, it is a mirror. You are not fighting a slave breaker. You are not shoveling sand in Batier. But you are drowning. You are drowning in debt, in distraction, in mediocrity, in regret. You have dreams you are too cowardly to pursue. You have standards you are too lazy to uphold. And deep down, there is a child in you still waiting for your parents to come pick you up, still waiting for the teacher to give you a gold star, still waiting for the world to apologize. Let me be the one to tell you the truth that hurts the most. No one is coming. The government is not coming to fix your finances. Your boss is not coming to unlock your potential. Your partner is not coming to heal your trauma. You are the architect of your own catastrophe or the sculptor of your own masterpiece. The hammer is in your hand. The chisel is in your hand. And the clock is ticking. Francis Ngannou could have died in the sand. Frederick Douglass could have died in the cotton fields. The world would have kept spinning. No one would have cried for them. They mattered because they made themselves matter. Stop looking over your shoulder. There is no one behind you. There is only the path forward and the strength of your own legs. The door to your cell is unlocked. It always has been. But you have to stand up. You have to walk through it, and you have to be willing to bleed on the other side. Save yourself or remain a prisoner. The choice is yours, and the time is now.